What's going on, everybody? This is Moose, Boyle, and Nick here from OccupyFantasy.com at OccupyFantasy on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm your host, Moose, co-founder and data guru here at OccupyFantasy.com. Back here for another NBA stream. Again, we have at the bottom left of your screen, we have Boyle, who's our NBA manager over at Occupy. How are you doing today, Boyle?
Doing good. I just secured my tickets for tomorrow night's Sixers game, James Harden's debut in Philly. So I'm very excited
Nice.
about that.
That should be awesome. That should be a lot of fun. And then at the top of your screen, we have one of our NBA writers, Nick, at DFS Jayhawk on Twitter and Discord is where you can find him. What's up, Nick? How you doing today?
Going on, everyone? Just good Tuesday slate, and excited to get into it.
Definitely. It is Fat Tuesday, so the only Mardi Gras related thing I have are some beads from years ago. So I have those on. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna switch it over to Boyle. He's gonna lead for the rest of the show. If you have questions, we're here till 5:30. Go ahead and ask them in the YouTube chat. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch it over, bring the plug up, and kick it over to you, Boyle.
Yeah, perfect. So first off, Moose, I did have beads upstairs. I just didn't realize that was a theme for tonight. So next year I'll be much more prepared for that. But I'm going to start today off just going down the injury report like always. Detroit, Marvin Bagley, he is doubtful. Porzingis is obviously out again for the Wizards. We see John Collins is doubtful. Brooklyn has a couple injuries with Drummond and Cam Thomas both questionable tonight. Obviously Kyrie and Durant are both out, as well as Ben Simmons with not sure if it's mental health or back illness. I don't know what he's going with nowadays, but it's one of those two. Toronto, we see Van Vliet and OG both questionable, and then we go down. Anthony Edwards was a late add. I'm going to go in a little bit, or Nick's going to go in a little bit more detail about that. When we go down to the if-then section, and then we just have LeBron James being questionable again for probably, what is that, the 200th game in a row, you think?
Every slate,
Every
pretty
slate.
much,
It does.
it's like LeBron's questionable. He's playing. Unless he's truly battling injury, I just assume he's playing.
Yeah, it's unless there's something actually next to questionable when we see it on Twitter, then we just take it as he's playing. So yeah. With that being said, we have 3 if thans tonight. Nick, do you want to kind of lead us through those to start it off?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So our first if then is once again Van Vliet. He is questionable again. So kind of the same scenario as last night. Gary Trent would become a better play if he would sit. He's got a 28% usage rate, and we said on the last stream he averages like around 30 regular points per game, so he'd be a decent play. And then our next if then, Kevin Porter, if he would be ruled out, we can look to Dennis Schroeder. So Schroeder, we saw this the last time there he was out. He got the start for an injured KPJ, and I think he had like 30, 31, 32 fantasy points. So we really like him tonight if KPJ were to sit, because he still isn't priced up for his role without KPJ. And then our last one, if Anthony Edwards is out, then we want to play Malik Beasley. So Anthony just got put on the injury report, I don't know, like an hour and a half ago. So I think there's a good shot he misses. If you look at his minutes recently, he hasn't been playing like 37, 36, 38 minutes. He's only been playing like 32, 33, 34. So I think he's battling some type of injury. So I think we need to look to Malik Beasley if he were to sit. So, and then I think it would also give bumps to Cat Towns and Russell, as they should be the other two big usage players. So.
Oh, perfect. That was a great example of just running right through the if then. So we actually do have first question in the chat. Are we playing Luca strictly in low risk or build around him in high risk as well?
I think he's both low and high risk. I had him like just in low risk because I think he's the best play on the slate. Obviously because he's cover boy, and he gets a phenomenal matchup against the Lakers, who always love to target against. They play zero defense. I think he's a phenomenal play, and even on DK at 12K, he's worth it. But on FanDuel at 10A, it's like just lock and load. Like it's a no-brainer there. I like him both sides. So yes.
Yeah, so if I could play off that a little bit, I know in NBA
Go
we
ahead.
kind of preach you pick like those cash chalk guys, and then you build around those you're set 4 or 5 for your high risk. So for like low risk, you obviously have most low risk players in there, but there's probably a core of 4 or 5 players in there that are like, oh, these are the top plays are going to be the higher owned plays. You're going to want to play those in high risk too for most nights on NBA, and then differentiate elsewhere. Just because, I mean, as we always say, they're going to be high owned for a reason. In the NBA, there's always injuries, there's always people underpriced, so you're going to want to play the guys who are taking advantage of that. So
Mhm.
that's kind of what we preach here. So I was just kind of playing off that a little bit. So no more questions right now. So we're gonna hop into our favorite stud play for tonight. So could you give me your favorite stud minus Luka Doncic?
Yeah, for sure. So my favorite stud besides Luca, as I mentioned in the plug, I think Curry's a great elite option. He's gonna be more of a high risk play because he's a lot more shooting reliant, and he does get a kind of a tough matchup against Patrick Beverly. So historically, he hasn't been as good against Beverly, but I'm not considering that as heavily as other people are. So I think he's a great spend up, and then obviously LeBron is phenomenal spend up as well. So I think those two are just kind of your other two spend ups, and you can go whoever you want. Right now, I got Curry, but I think LeBron's a fine spend up too. So
Sounds good. Next question here. Is there any risk playing guys in the Raptors Nets game after seeing those guys pulled early last night because of a blowout?
yeah,
What,
I mean,
what do you think?
I wouldn't really take it that much into consideration. I still think if those guys are out, I mean, we've seen Nick Nurse like surround these guys to the ground. So I mean, yeah, I don't really see an issue there. I don't know if you got a different take, Boyle, but
No, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't play like I know we were high on Drummond yesterday, and then he ended up. I don't know what it was. But he got a lot less minutes. I know it was a blowout, but he did not see anywhere close to the amount of minutes he was seeing in the Bucks game.
yeah,
So I feel like he might actually be hurt tonight. I mean, I wouldn't touch him tonight.
yeah.
There's one other, Cam Thomas, the other questionable one from the Nets. I
Okay.
really wouldn't touch him either.
Yeah, well,
But I mean, everyone else in that game, I feel like it's fair because as you said, everyone got pulled early because of a blowout. So most of the time,
yeah.
you're fine. You're not gonna have to be rested after that.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Um, and the Nets though, they've been a lot harder to predict because they have like a 10, 12 man rotation. So yeah, just add on to that. But
Yeah, no, exactly. So next up, we're gonna hop into favorite value play. So I know I see we have Caldwell Pope and Reggie Jackson as the core. So do you want to give your favorite value play besides those two?
yeah. So obviously KCP, he ranks high in the model, and then I was looking at let's see who else here did I like. Obviously Malachi Flynn. If Fred VanVleet's out, I think he's a great play. He's almost mid price on both sides. That'd be like if VanVleet was out though. What else did I like here? Howard, I think is a good value play. He's been, I think he had a not as good as game as he did the 2 nights ago, but he had a decent game. And then I think that's it for the most part. Let me look at the model real quick because I can't think of that many at the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't say Howard, I was gonna say Howard. I know he
Yeah,
got the start again last game for AD obviously, but then I'm looking at Howard's game log right now. He played looks like 8 minutes in the first quarter, came back in and played another 8 minutes. So he had 16 minutes at halftime,
hmm
and then I mean by this time in the game he got an extra 5 minutes in the third, and then at that point in the game it looks like it was almost a 15-point game. Nope, 30-point game at that point.
yeah.
So
One
he didn't come back in because of that. So I really like Howard tonight because his price remained the same.
Yeah, I agree. And then another one I wanted to mention I just pulled up. So Precious Achua, if OG Anobi is ruled out again, he's 4K on DK, so I think he's a really good DK play. But on FanDuel, he's almost 6K, so I wouldn't be on him as much there. So I think that's a DK side specific play there for value.
Sounds good. And then we have another question from Matthew in the chat. Favorite center for FanDuel that you're on? I just kind of mentioned mine in Howard. What about you?
Yeah, I'd say Howard or I'm trying to someone in the mid tier. Say like don't know, Cat if you wanted to spend up, obviously, but I think yeah, I'd probably say Howard. I don't know. It's not like a huge position today. Yeah, I think Howard or Cat probably.
Or Cat.
Spend up.
Perfect. All right. So we have no other questions right now in the chat. So let me pull up the next thing here. We're gonna go best low owned, but there's actually so on the model we only have ownership on games that are 6+. So do you want to kind of give me your favorite like under the radar play of the day?
Yeah, for sure. So let me look here. I mean, I thought Reggie Jackson was gonna be lower owned, but then I saw his price and he's probably too cheap on FanDuel. So I think he'll probably be mid 30s. So I probably wouldn't go there. Um, Low owned. Let me look here. I don't know if Olenek will realize, but the reason he actually crushed, and I didn't even realize this, was Bagley was out last game. Bagley's out again. So I think Olenek could see a decent amount of run again, and he's in another decent matchup. So I think he could be a little bit lower owned. I think he's a decent GPP play. Let's see who else here.
Yeah. So kind of going off the Olenek news here, it looks like he basically took Bagley's spot off the bench. He was the second one off the bench.
Yeah.
Played 24 minutes. I mean, he scored 20 points in 24 minutes, which if he does again, great for him. But I still think that he's too cheap for what he's seeing like minute wise, 24, 25 minutes probably. Especially after last game, he played very well. So I'm sure he gets a little bit more this game as well. So.
No, I agree. I think Bagley really is the key point there because if Bagley's in, that's 20 minutes that goes to Bagley. So you're taking that or most of the 20 minutes and putting it to Olenek directly. So yeah, so I think that's a good point.
Yeah, and then another question here in the chat: why do you think Reggie Jackson's such a good play tonight?
Point guard isn't that good on FanDuel, and he gets a great matchup against Houston. He's been kind of their main guy as of late. He kind of had sporadic minutes within the last month, but his minutes have kind of firmed up now. So I just think he's too cheap on FanDuel. It's not necessarily I think he's like you gotta play him. I just think his price for what he's been doing is just not right. I think he should be closer to his DK price at 8K. So
No, it's a good good explanation
that's what I like.
So then next thing I was going to bring up was I was going to talk about the Lakers situation a little bit if you wanted to talk about them. I know AD being out is kind of a big factor for them. And then we saw in the last game it was a blowout. So no one really got a solid look on exactly what they're doing. I know in the first game the only really key thing we saw was that Dwight Howard was going to see minutes. What do you think about that? Do you think Westbrook's worth a look at 6-6 on FanDuel? Do you think LeBron could be like a plug and play? Like, what are your thoughts on the whole Lakers situation?
I've been stuck on Westbrook because he's been so bad, but you got to think right. At some point, he's got to do something right, and he's down to 6-6 on FanDuel, so it's like it's not gonna take that much to get there. Like we know what he can do without AD. We've seen it before. It's just, man, he's just not been good. And part of me tells me to play him, but there's another part of me that's like, it might still be bait. Like, he just hasn't shown that floor he has shown before. So, yeah, I'm kind of tied up on that. I would lean to not play him just for ownership leverage. But, I mean, if you like him, you think you have a good take on him tonight, I mean, I'm fine if you play him. And then LeBron, it's tough. I mean, I like him, but he doesn't seem as locked as he did earlier on in the season. It kind of looks like he's taking the foot off the gas a little bit. His team is just not that good without AD. And then I think Howard's just going to play hard no matter what. So I think Howard's not really going to make a difference. I think he's very play no matter what. But I think you want to take a stand on Westbrook, either go all in on him or not play him, because I think you're going to want to have a strong stand with him.
So when you were explaining that, I kind of looked up. I stat mused Westbrook's FanDuel points per game without Anthony Davis this year. He's played 23 games this year, which is insane without Anthony Davis. He averages 37, FanDuel points per game, which is right around what he's priced at. But there are a couple games that kind of brought that down. I know a majority of these games were between 45 to 50 fantasy points, and there's a couple of games in there mixed in like the last 2 games where he had 20 fantasy points, 26 fantasy points. The one, it was 6 games ago, it looked like on January 19th, he had 22. So there's just sporadic ones in there that are like sporadic. In the 20s where it just skyrockets them down. But then you have ones that are just like, I think there's a stretch of, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row where he had at least 43. So it's really inconsistent, but if you're playing GPPs tonight, I really think he might be a way to differentiate yourself.
See, I don't think he's going to be a differentiator because I think everyone I've seen the last few nights, he's been like 50% each slate. And if he's going to keep being that, I have not seen steady production. So for me personally, I think if y'all are on the Discord, you know I was on Westbrook last year. Sure, it has not been the same way, at least the second half of the year. Like, price, like, he could go down to 6K and I'd still consider not playing him just because I know with Reggie Jackson for 400 more at half the ownership, I'm going to get a decent floor. With Westbrook, I can't get that floor anymore. And it's crazy to say because it's Russell Westbrook. It's like, how could you say you're not going to get a floor with Westbrook without AD? But it just came to that point where it's like, you can't trust him. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of sticking in the opposite boat. Just because I feel like after 2 games of 20 fantasy points each, I can't see 50% owned again tonight. If it is, and I play him and he's still 50% owned and he busts, then I'm gonna just say, all right, you know what, fuck it, then I'm not playing him again. And then again, next slate comes around, I'm gonna say, you know, I was gonna play him again. But I don't know. That's just my thought on it. I'm not touching him in cash. I would only play him in any kind of tournaments. So high risk tournaments. Question here. I hope you don't mind asking, but do you remember 3? It was good. Not really sure what that means, but
3.
We'll move past that. Not really sure what that is. Yeah. So we'll move past that, and then I'm gonna ask the next question here. How are you building tonight? So I know some slates and stars and scrubs. Some are just straight mid value. What are you looking at tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously plugging in Luka. I think you want to start your build with Luka and then one of Curry or LeBron. So I think you want to start with those 2. And then the rest of the lineup is kind of, or the way you build your lineup is kind of news dependent here. So I think Fred VanVleet is going to be massive. If he's out again and Anobi's out, then you're just going to want to lock in Barnes and Trent once again. And then I think KCP you can play no matter what because the news doesn't affect him. So I'd probably say it's one of Curry, LeBron, and Luka, and then probably either mid, or if you want to go like a scrub with like Malachi Flynn, if your news breaks your way, that's fine. I'm not as like last night I was like pretty strict on like a mid build, but tonight I'm like pretty open, however you want it, because there's a couple good value plays. So I mean I don't really have a strict roster construction.
That's fair.
As I'm going tonight, I don't know if you have like a way you're going tonight, but.
Obviously, it just depends on injuries, as you said. I mean, there's a lot of guys that could pop up. Gary Trent could pop up. Malachi Flynn could pop up. Yeah, there's a lot of guys where value could be created, and if value is created, then it kind of forces your hand into doing a stars and scrubs lineup. Yeah, but I mean, just kind of no news comes out, then yeah, exactly. It's kind of tough to gauge it right now. But I mean. If we end up getting VanVleet out, Edwards out, it's probably going to end up being more of a stars and scrubs type night where you plug in Beasley and Trent and those guys, and obviously throw in the Doncic's and the LeBrons of the world or the Currys. Yep. So, yeah. So I mean, I don't see any more questions as of right now. So what we can do is I'll kind of take a break from DFS. I know we were talking about 3 weeks ago. We were talking about the MVP race. Or 4 weeks ago, I want to say. About 4 weeks ago. Back when Jokic was 10-1 and Embiid was 14-1. Now, Embiid's the favorite and Jokic is the second favorite. So, I'm going to give you a chance. Do you want to stick with Jokic? Do you want to move back and pick like a Morant or something? Like who's lower on? Like who's your player right now? If I gave you $100 to bet on this, who would you put money on?
Man, I think Embiid is going to fall just because you got Harden there now. So, it's another facilitator, a lot of usage that's going to go away from him. So I don't think I'm taking Embiid. I think it's got to be Jokic or trying to see who else. Like Curry's starting to turn on a little bit, so he could make a run for MVP. But I mean, I think I gotta stick with Jokic. I know that's kind of a not a bold take, but I don't. I mean, who else? Like, yeah, Jaw. I mean, I think he's been playing incredible, but I don't know if I could pick him as like maybe as a long shot. I agree, but I don't think I could like put like a ton of money on him as like a reasonable pick. Makes sense.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, Jokic isn't really even it's not like a low risk pick at all. I mean, I saw today Embiid was I'm pretty sure he was plus 100. So it was basically bet 10 to win 10. Jokic was I think 3-1. So I mean he's still 3-1. So I was just seeing if you had any more. I know a couple weeks ago we kind of pulled these guys out, and then since then they kind of skyrocketed up. So I didn't know if you wanted to, like give your blessing to somebody else to watch him shoot up the MVP ladder as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would have said Embiid for sure, but I think Harden there is going to reduce him a little bit just because he's not the full team now. At least that's what I think. I think Harden's going to take a little bit more of his MVP status, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, in the first game, it's still, I mean, they fed off each other. I thought they played really well together.
Yeah.
But I can't see every game being an Embiid 37 burger and a Harden triple double.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, I don't think he's going to put up those numbers he was putting up before Harden came in.
No, and I feel like with a couple people coming back for the Nuggets, I mean, they have a chance to get their record a little bit better. If their record's a little bit better, Jokic is obviously going to have a better chance of winning it. So, it pains me to say it, but if you gave me, as a value pick, if you gave me $100 right now, I think I would throw it on Jokic just to see it triple, as opposed to just basically get your money back plus more.
I agree.
All right, so no, that was a good little sidebar from DFS. We can kind of hop back into it a little bit. Still no more questions in the chat, so I'm just gonna go right to your edge of the slate. I know I ask this every time, but I gotta know if there's like a Nick edge to this slate.
No, man. I mean, we saw last night. I didn't think there'd be edge of playing Giannis, but half the field faded him. So I can't imagine like if half the field fade Luka tonight. I guess that's a little bit of leverage because that's half the field you don't have to worry about losing to. So yeah, I mean Luka, and I don't know. I just wait. This news is so important. Honestly, the later we get this news, is the better because it gives less time for people to adjust. Yeah, I mean, play Luka, eat up the field that doesn't play Luka, play one of LeBron and Curry, and play Barnes and Trent and Malik Beasley if Edwards is out. I don't know if that's kind of my perspective tonight, but I don't know if you have a different way you're approaching it.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't even want to know if I want to call it an edge, but I know the big injury news we have tonight is for Toronto, it's for Houston, and it's for Minnesota. So Toronto's game starts at 7:30, Houston's is at 8:00, Minnesota is at 8:00 as well. So you're most likely not gonna hear news up until after lock because this Detroit game starts at 7. So I would just be able to leave a little bit of salary in there where you can go up from somebody to Schroeder, or you can go down to go down to Beasley and then up to somebody else. Just make sure that you leave enough salary in there where you can play around with your lineups to plug in those guys that are going to see the benefits. Because there's not too many solid chalk plays tonight. But if you can get those guys in your lineup, then that's going to be an edge in itself.
I agree. And I just think most importantly, like a great strategy is kind of play out the news the way you think it's going to go. So build out your lineup saying, oh, if I think Fred VanVleet's going to play, then get off Gary Trent, get off a little bit of Barnes, not a ton, but like, and if you think Edwards is going to play, then play Edwards because he's 6'6" on FanDuel and he'll be phenomenal to play. So I think you just kind of like got to take a stand there, and just hope the news breaks your way. That's what I like to do, because the people that kind of just don't do that, I feel like I have a little bit of leverage just trying to predict what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, yeah, I agree with you. Leave money and just try not to lock too many people up early, just to give you that late swap, which is massive. That's the difference in NBA. It's late swap. So.
I agree. So this is going to put you into a hot position here. So we have 3 FDANs: VanVleet, Porter Jr., Edwards. let's hear your prediction if each one plays or not. And you'll probably get tweeted at or something later saying you're wrong, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Van Vliet, so his coach came out and said it was his knee soreness. Just take that however you want. Was worse yesterday than it was the day before. So I'm not really sure. I haven't like seen any tweets myself that says either way. That one's pretty 50-50 to me. I think he plays, but again, that's just a guess. I think he got a rest, just a night off a rest. Kevin Porter Jr., I think there's a better shot he sits. So I'd probably go 60-40 there that he sits. So I like Kevin Porter more to sit. And then Anthony Edwards, I'm leaning he's a 70. So here's where I think I always think the midday downgrades are terrible for them to play. So I'm gonna give a 70% he doesn't play and a 30% he plays. That's my bold take. I think
Alright.
Edwards misses.
So we go 50-50, 60-40, 70-30.
Yep.
Right down the ladder, or right up the ladder, whatever it is. So, all right. So for our last segment today, we're gonna end it just kind of the way we did last night. Just going over your top overall play for the night. Just like your one guy, you're throwing all your eggs in one basket. He's your favorite play.
Yeah. Besides Luka, because I don't want to say that again. I would. So I'm gonna go site specific for this one because I think Reggie Jackson's my number 2 play on FanDuel. He is just like he's just giving you a floor and he's an elite. I mean, you're gonna differ on this. I think Westbrook's gonna be extremely shock again. So I think he's a great pivot off of Westbrook tonight. And then my DK specific play would be. Let me look here. I'm gonna say Precious Achua if OG nobody's out.
Okay.
It's not asking for much, and I think he's a great putt.
Okay. I'm just gonna back that up. My top play of the night, both sites, is gonna be Dwight Howard. I know you need a center spot in there. There's not really a center that kind of jumps off the page for us. I was talking earlier. Howard probably would have saw close to 30 minutes last game if it wasn't a blowout. Tonight's only a 5-point spread. So I really think Howard sees the full benefits of minutes, and I think he crushes the 4-4 price tag, 4-3 on DK.
I like it. That's good to
So,
me.
all right. So with that, I think we're gonna end it up for tonight. I don't see any more questions in the chat. So obviously, if you guys have any more questions before the slate locks at 7, we're available in the Discord for any questions you might have. And then for the next stream, I'm thinking we're either going to get back to it probably either Monday or Tuesday next week. Definitely Tuesday. If we have time, we'll hop in on Monday as well. So from me, my Twitter, tboyle24_DFS. Then we have Nick with at DFSJhawk. And then wait. Luca's got a question in. Last second question.
All right, but
Favorite value on FanDuel. This will end our stream right here.
favorite value on FanDuel. I'm gonna say me and the model agree. I think that KCP is a great value tonight. I'm gonna go with KCP.
Okay, I'm sticking with Howard.
Howard, he'd be second for me, so I agree.
And then one more question here. We're getting all the questions last minute. Can you explain something regarding ownership? I'm not really sure what that means. Like how
Does he want like
be targeting via like what we're trying to
ask him like what he means by that.
A little bit to respond here, and then we'll if not, then he can always shoot the question in our Discord.
Yeah, I'll be in Discord. So.
Oh, the number of low-owned players in a lineup. So Nick, you want to take this one or?
Yeah, I don't really have like a number off the top of my head, like low-owned players. As I said in the Discord today, I was like, I kind of just fill in with my favorite top plays, fill in the lowest plays that we highlighted on there, and then whatever you have left, just kind of fill in. Yeah, I guess if you could find lower owned plays, that'd be better. But I don't like when I'm building, I kind of just play all the top plays that I like. I don't take ownership into account too much. NBA is kind of a better sport just to eat the chalk, because there's a reason they're chalk. So yeah, so I would just play the best plays, and then obviously like if you want to get different, maybe you go to like a Cat Towns as a low owned play, or like a Steph Curry, I think, is going to be lower owned. So I don't know. Just mess around there. But don't build your lineup around low owned plays.
Perfect.
Don't do that.
Okay, so again, I am Boyle. That was Nick. We will be back next Tuesday, possibly Monday. Peace.
Peace.